It appears to be a humanoid body. It is very pale. It is lifeless. Appears to be a young male. Yeah, a young military-age male. He's wearing his undergarments and he's folded into the barrel in a very undignified and slightly impractical way in order to get the barrel to close, like it was done in a hurry.
We've just found a dumped body in a barrel. They've been stripped of their clothing, possibly because they were wearing a uniform beforehand. I'm just going to check the body to see if there's any bite marks on the neck, because it looks very pale.
And when you investigate or inspect the body, you want to roll a medicine check, actually. And while you roll that medicine check, we'll cut across to Harold, who's eyeing the staff as they're coming and going from the kitchen area, and you've traipsed the length of the venue now and got a chance to broadly look at a number of the staff. Do you want to roll a perception check, Harold, just to cover that broad sort of looking that you've been doing?
Thank God, actually a decent roll. Harold got a 19.
Okay, all right. So with your 19 perception, you noticed, again, the staff here are very professional. Everything moves like a very well-oiled machine. Everyone's neatly attired. The uniforms are well pressed, and everyone seems to know their duties. And even the people who are just standing guard, you observe them to be quite observant and paying attention. You noticed in passing that one of the guards that you passed earlier in the day, the uniform was perhaps a bit more disheveled, and the more guards you've seen as you've gone through the day, it stands out more and more to you. You're not sure where that person is now, because the post that they were standing, they'd vacated as you come towards the dining room. Everyone else seems to be on the level as far as you can tell here.
Okay.
And so, what was your medicine check, Johnny?
12.
12? So you observe a large, very thin incision overlying both of the carotid arteries, like a straight vertical incision with surgical sort of precision, and 99.9% confident that was the fatal blow. And with a high positive predictive value, you're pretty confident that this was done by somebody with advanced knowledge and quite well developed knife skills. And he appears to have exsanguinated. He's been bled completely dry.
These are my autopsy findings. At least it doesn't look like a vampire.
Harold goes, one of the guards seems to be a little disheveled compared to his companions. Keep an eye on the guard staff.
Well, if you would like to keep an eye on the guard staff, but assuming that Johnny and Snappy tell the findings of the exsanguinated corpse, can he do some sort of check to see if there's any historical significance of assassinations?
Yeah, so roll a history and roll a perception and tell me which one's which. And then we'll see what you come back with. History check of 20, all right.
Dirty 20, and a perception check of 11 again.
11, okay. So hearing this over the link that you share with the sigil pins, you glance around the space that you're in now, which is filling up quickly with people, and you're a tall guy. You have some advantage in terms of height, and you've got your familiar, who is technically your familiar is aiding you, so you could probably roll with advantage if you want to just see if you roll any better than that.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. No, in fact,
Okay.
that was the better of the efforts.
Yep. Yeah. So the seagull is attracted to the spit roast that's happening out in the front courtyard. So you notice, you look around. It doesn't appear to be a guard that looks any different to any of the others. There's a page, the senior page, that's standing post at the west or the right hand doors into the meeting room. Looks perhaps a bit heightened, or bit sweaty and uncomfortable, but also the busy part of the important part of the ceremony is about to begin, and he may or may not be aware that there's a threat going on specifically. So you don't really notice anything there. The significance of the body being exsanguinated to you, you didn't actually have to think particularly hard about this. It's been a feature of recent cult killings. The use of the blood in rituals has been quite common and is being well described, and is circulating the rumor mills about what potential sort of evil and nefarious blood magic these cultists are doing with all these people that they're bleeding to death. So it certainly keeps in keeping with the Black Accord murder.
Okay. But I'm not like 100% convinced that any of the guards is acting.
No one stands out to you in the space currently.
I don't want to act any more suspicious, so I will stay point on the Magister Dawn script. Yeah.
And she having completed her round now, stations at the back of the room, just alongside the captain of the guard, and motions for you to stand with her. And you see her mutter again some incantation, which you recognize as mage armor. And so she's put her mage armor up, and she looks very, very alert. And for an elderly woman, an elderly highborn woman who been quite polite and lovely and almost grandmotherly in her dealings with everyone, you can see the look of an experienced professional. So you take up post with her.
Can I ask you a question, DM? Is the Magister aware of my role?
She is. So she's briefed on your existence, and she's aware of the sigil and your role therein.
I would quickly lean over and talk in her ear like I've been doing when passing suggestions on how to greet people and everything like that, and just inform her of the exsanguinated body, the military bearing, and the uniform that's missing. And then I step back again.
She nods and doesn't say anything outwardly to you, but you can see her now also eyeballing every person in the room, particularly those people in uniform. Okay, I'm just going to change maps to the one where everyone's in the right space. Un momento, per favor.
Yep. I think Harold notices, is it Arik sitting down? He sits down behind him and goes, "Ah, you there? Smell this." And he points at his glass of wine. "No, smell it. I think there's something rancid." And as Arik leans over, he goes, There's an exsanguinated body in storeroom 2, and it appears to be potentially a missing guard uniform. I think the assassin may be blending in as a guard. And he goes, and then he leans back and goes, "Absolutely foul, isn't it? I think it completely spoils my appetite."
He grimaces at you, and he taps the sigil pin on his lapel, suggesting that he's largely overheard most of the conversation of the night, including the various points at which you guys degenerated into name-calling and other such behaviours. Yes, 'tis quite foul, my lord. It smells, frankly, of pigeons, and perhaps us did trod in something on the way in. And then he sits back up, and he's also looking around the room at the guards and others in uniform, trying to take in what's going on. All right. And at this point, there's a hush sort of falls over the room, and there's a bit of a formal procession going on. Snappy, the band has packed down started to move their instruments and things across, but for the formal part of the ceremonies, you're all offered seats as part of the delegation, so you get to sit and be one of the noble types as soon as I figure out where I put you. And the rest of you look around the room. This is what we see. Why are you being so petulant? Look, that's going to have to do it. It's not panning. You guys have mostly got your own view. It's mostly just for the stream that the map is playing. Silly buggers. So you look around the room, each of you in turn is taking a moment now to look around, and you see a great many nobles and members of the Lord's Alliance, and you notice the Amnian delegation is largely sitting in the back left corner, and the Alliance are spread across the space with the chancellors, and there are now 4 chancellors that you can see: Thalavar, Redwine, Vaughnfeld, and Blackthorn. Redwine having arrived late to the party. He is the Chancellor of the Interior. He's a career diplomat, a human of advanced age, and a statesman, a speaker. You can see approaching the podium is a human man with flowing sort of golden hair to his shoulders. He's wearing this polished suit of full plate that looks incredibly impractical. It's adorned with a number of sigils and banners and draped in medals, of which a number of them look like he's had them enlarged or made overly decorative in his own time. And he approaches the stage ready to speak. So as he does that, you guys are looking around the space. Johnny and Brain. Who found the body? He's not braining good. Yeah, okay. So Malixus and Johnny, you guys have made your way into the space now. I was trying to work out which character was missing off my screen, and it's Johnny. So Johnny, you've made your way into the space as well as the Thavian ambassador once again, and you take a space in one of the unoccupied areas. There's only one spot really where you don't have to sit next to someone, and so you take that space just in the front left side there. And there's a hush that sort of falls over the room, and Kalen Mayer gets up, and all of you know his stories, certainly some of the more prominent stories and combat successes, and he's often touted as the finest warrior and a hero of many engagements and miraculous successes he's been involved in. But Harold, particularly, having had a long history of being involved in the court and working in a variety of legal and less kosher capacities, you all get the strong sense that perhaps his experiences and stories are inflated, not entirely accurate, but certainly they sell books. So he's perhaps one of the most successful authors of the current age in writing his detailed memoirs. So he gets up there and he starts to carry on, and I won't give you the entirety of the speech that he gives you, because that just seems unpleasant for this time of night. But it's full of platitudes. Strength is not for one man. It is something that we must find together. Tonight we honour unity and we honour our friends, and tomorrow we must defend them. And he goes on for probably longer than is entirely desirable. Remind me, Ophion, did you drink that drink?
I didn't. I just looked at it.
Okay, that's a wise choice, because the Constitution save at this point might have caused some entertainment. The speech wanders to an end vaguely reminiscent of the current President of the United States in terms of his speaking ability, and you're not entirely sure what was being conveyed in his speech, but everyone applauds and cheers almost politely, and he steps down, and Vaughn Redwine, who's the human diplomat, he stands and begins a very flowery, formal welcome of the Amnian delegation, and he bows and speaks directly to Consul Belmora and gives a very detailed accounting of their friendship and how he hopes things will continue to prosper. He's polite and courteous. All right, everybody have another perception roll, or things as they've been going along.
Did you say perception?
Yeah, everyone can have a perception.
Not deception.
No.
17.
17, 2.
No, that was persuasion. No, that was performance. And finally, the win. Perception 15. Oh my god. We can go with the first of levels
Okay.
if you like.
Ophion, at about the same time that you notice it, the Magister gently gets your attention with a slight nod of the head, and you can see her eyes pointing to the same place that just drew your attention across the room. You can see a number of staff, guards, and pages around the space, and standing in the back corner of the room, next to one of the uniformed pages, is another guy. He's wearing a guard's uniform, but he doesn't look like the other guards. And now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Everyone else is dressed with this uniform precision, and his armor is buckled unevenly, and there's some blemishes on his tunic, and there's just a number of things that don't look right. And as you start to pay more attention to him, he seems to look. He's standing guard, but intermittently he's shooting furtive looks around the room, and you lock eyes with him. So he's standing on the right-hand side of the room. Harold, you
like
did you roll?
one foot position?
Yes, I did. I got a 17.
You got a 17. So at about the same time, the same sort of thing catches your attention because you're very close to him. So he's the guy. He's just next to the doorway on the right-hand side there. Comes up on the map as Pale Lark. Is the guy who is wearing the guard's uniform, but he doesn't look like he belongs. One of these things is not like the other. And he stands out to you as well.
Okay. All right. Harold, noticing him and seeing the target, starts saying, "Oh, my bladder doesn't hold up as well as it used to," and then slowly gets up and starts moving himself towards Pale Lark, and then while he's there, he trips and pretends to fall onto Pale Lark and goes, "Oh dearie!" and lands on Pale Lark.
Roll a deception check for me.
Yeah. Damn it, that is 11.
11.
I roll an advantage while I'm falling, I pull on the shrink next to my water bladder hidden in my pants and cause myself to make it look like I wet myself.
Yes. You can roll with advantage. I was going to suggest you should roll with advantage because you chose that moment to void your bladder, but if you actually came prepared with a water bladder, then that's
Less committed.
Yes.
yes.
I
Less
have had
realistic,
that.
to be fair.
I have had that in my inventory since I created Harold,
I remember.
waiting to use this. All right.
How old is the Euro stored in the bladder at this point?
Oh no.
It's a 12.
Okay.
That was a fine vintage.
At about this point, Mistress Seagull, who had been patiently enduring a lot of your conversation, you suspect may have actually taken more of an interest in you than perhaps you had thought, and maybe there's some unresolved grandfather issues there or something, but she's actually she stood up with you, seeing that you were in distress, to walk with you to the privy, and seeing that you've fallen and wet yourself, she's come to kneel beside you to give you some assistance, and she's actually pointing to the page and the guard, like, "Help this poor old man, he needs to help to the privy quickly."
Please,
before anyone sees
help.
Like, quickly preserve his dignity, will help me move him.
Oh, my hip! I think I broke my hip!
And the page says, "Oh no, we had the training, we're not supposed to move any injured men, we're supposed to wait for the clerics to arrive."
As the demi-baron of Thistledown, I demand that you move me to a place with privacy!
And at this point, the guard and the page and Mistress Scylla frog march you essentially into the dining space and rest you on a chair just inside the dining space here, just out of the view of the others. As you enter that space, there's a number of household servants and household staff sort of clearing tables between the dinner service and any late night refreshments that might follow. There are a number of guards in the room still, and you can see the space is otherwise largely unchanged from how you were in it previously.
As Harold's being put into a chair, he gently touches his sigil and goes, Targets move to the dining hall. May needs backup. Please be on standby.
And so, Ophion, you watch this happen, and the Magister hasn't moved yet, but she clearly probably saw this happen as well. And then Melixis and Johnny, you hear this over your sigil link. That
This one might be a job for Melixis.
And are you still you were making a loud fuss as you were dragged out, were you, Harold?
Yeah, I'd say reasonably loud fuss.
Okay, so as you do that, then some of the guards and servants in the room also come over to pay you some attention.
Maybe if one of you two announces, "I know first aid," and then self-righteously barge out the door after him, I'm probably going to be stuck with the delegations.
At this point, actually, one of the pages is fetched, and he's leading, quite literally leading by the hand, the very blind and somewhat deaf Brother Aelon across the back row, carrying a pair of brightly coloured satchels with various sort of symbols of deities of health and well-being on them. Brings him to you in the dining space.
I'll just excuse myself from my group because I'm with the
Musicians.
Amnian musicians, and to say I'll see if I can render some assistance.
Fiona's gonna stay with Magister, but he's going to get Stephen Hawking to go to like the 2 or 3 o'clock position in the room, so opposite side of the room, so to speak.
I start plucking at the harp.
Okay.
Ah, yes.
Because we should be fairly certain that Harold isn't the target, but we're not sure who the target is at the moment, so Ophian's going to stay alert to other guns.
Okay. So, Harold, they've set you on a chair, and the servants have brought some toweling and rags to help mop up the sopping urine mess, which is just slowly dribbling out of the wineskin bladder. And it's pretty pungent. It's got that sort of ammonia smell that as the cleric enters the room, he asks, the cystitis again, is it, sir?
Oh, it's from the birds.
Yes, 'tis the birds are harbingers of all the foul and asthma. It's all right, let me examine you. And at about this point, the guard is trying to step away from the situation. He's seeing that there's now a great many helpers and the situation seems to have stabilized itself. He's trying to brush past everyone to get back to the main chamber.
Harold makes eyes at Melixis and goes, just almost like looking in the direction, goes to try to stop him.
So if I try and
you're gonna stop playing the harp and walk quickly to try and catch him before he makes the room. Roll athletics.
It's a 12. What's all the 12s tonight?
There is a lot of 12s.
Yeah.
He makes it to the doorway as you catch up to him, so you can get a hand on his collar, I guess, as he enters he's in the space. He can see the space, and on the stage now is Redwine giving a long and detailed speech, and then shortly you're aware that the last speech to come is Thalavar to speak about the new measures that they're proposing to combat the cult. So things are starting to wind down in the meeting space as you get your hand on his neck.
Can I apologize and yank him backwards?
You apologize and pull him backwards at the same time? Okay.
Yes.
So we'll call this a grapple. So we'll make this contested strength. You're not raging, so just a straight roll.
The sevens.
The rolls have been not great this session.
Very mid.
You get your hands on the tunic, and he's just a fraction quicker than you, and he takes a forward step into the room. He does lose his balance and stumble a little bit, so he doesn't get a great amount of distance from you, but you aren't able to grapple him at this point. And now we're gonna have to roll initiative for you and for him, and I guess for Harold, and then everyone just roll initiative. Let's just do it.
Okay. But my rolls are horrible today. Harold got a 10. But also he has alert, so he can switch his initiative if he so choose, if anyone wants to.
Finn also has that ability. He'll roll a 15. I would like Stephen Hawking
Johnny?
to go immediately after my turn on that.
21 for Johnny. Watch
Wow,
out,
Johnny's
everyone's
rolling for fire.
everyone's going to get flame cannoned in a second.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be no witnesses. And Malixus,
And also no paperwork. So that's
15. Okay, so Malixus and Ophion. I assume, Malixus, your dexterity is higher?
I don't want to be presumptive.
+2.
Minus +2. It's only 14.
Rollies.
Johnny's dexterity is a +2 as well.
First to
13.
roll dex.
Just roll a d20. Okay. Are you both tied? Again, that's balls.
And we'll go after.
Good call. All right.
Yeah, that's good.
So it'll be Johnny, Malixus, Ophi, Harold on a 10, unless anybody wants to swap.
Johnny can swap. Johnny's not going to do anything important at this stage.
Yeah. Harold, do you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you very much.
Okay. And with that, it is your initiative, Harold. You see this guard just slip through the fingers of Malixus, who lightly jogged to the doorway to try and catch him.
So I think Harold will first use his ability Fast Hands that allows him to utilize use a magic action as a bonus, or use a magic action item as a bonus action, or can I use an action? Like use an item as a bonus action.
I think it's utilize
Oh,
an
no.
item as a I think.
Oh yes, it
I
says
think
utilize.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
So Harold is going to throw one of his items. I'm just trying to find it. All right, so he's gonna throw his Caltrops that are painted very brightly to look like jacks, and throw them in the area of the guard of this guard, and go, oh gee, I think I dropped my toys. And so Caltrops land in a 5-foot square.
Yep.
And creatures that enter the area for the first time on a turn must succeed a DC 15 Dex saving throw, or take 1 piercing damage and have its speed reduced to 0 until the start of its next turn.
Okay. So you throw the Caltrops at this distance. We won't make you roll for the accuracy of the throw. You're reasonably close, and you're pretty accurate as far as that goes. So you throw the Caltrops. All right. Anything else you want to do?
Yep. So that's my bonus action. I think Harold is then going to. I think Harold would then stand up, approach this Malixus, and give him the help action for his next turn.
How are you helping Malixus? You're gonna.
I think
grab
Harold.
the guy, or
Yeah, Harold's going to help him grab the guy by saying, oh, gee, like first is going to stand up and go, oh, wow, it's a miracle. And then run over and then pretend, oh, no, pretend to trip and try to grab a Caroline.
okay. All right. you're holding your action to give the help action to Malixus, and you've thrown the Caltrops down. Okay, Dex 15. He fails. You see him. It's the facial expression of a middle-aged, fully armored man who's just stepped on a Lego or a D4, and it's just got him right in like the arch of his foot. And you see him. He briefly grimaces, and at this point, he turns away from the room and turns towards all of you, and he is flanked by you. Really, he's not really got any way of getting past any of you, so he's gonna reach out and hit you. The swords stay sheathed on his back, and he just reaches out to strike you in the chest, Malixus, because Malixus is the one who grabbed him. He's still processing that perhaps there was a ruse that led him to get into this space, but he strikes Malixus and it just glances off his chest armor, just bounces off, and he spins quite nimbly on his back foot and swings out again. And does a 17 hit you, Malixus?
Yeah, it does.
You take 1 point, so you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage, and he takes a moment, and you can see he is thinking briefly about this, and then he spins again, and with uncanny speed, he lashes out and strikes at you a further 2 times.
Kung Fu.
So you take another 6 points of bludgeoning damage, and that also hits, and 9 points of bludgeoning damage. And then, as part of his drunken technique, he gets the benefit of the disengage action, and he disengages past both of you towards the back door.
Isn't his movement speed 0? Because of the Caltrops?
That is a good point.
Speed is reduced to 0 until the start of its next turn.
Okay, in that case then, he doesn't get the benefit of the disengage action. He's just going to stay there and look very unhappy with... And that will be his turn, which brings us to Malixus.
So he's moved.
He didn't really move, so he's probably... Sorry, he's still in the doorway.
Trying to see. Yeah, so I'm going to rage because I'm pissed off that I A, didn't grab him, and B, he's then turned around and whacked me 3 times. And then I'm just going to try and grapple him again.
Okay.
And I've now get to roll advantage because I'm raging.
Also, you got the help action anyway.
So it's just straight strength, yeah?
Athletics?
What?
If I'm just trying to see, because if I've got unarmed strike, and if I try and grapple, then they have to succeed a saving throw. But I don't really know how that works. If it's my DC,
is that to take damage, or is that the brawler or the grappler or whatever it is, where they take damage? You can hurt them while they're grappled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is unarmed strike. You make a melee attack, so maybe I have to hit.
Yeah. Okay. So just roll a second athletics.
Yeah.
Grapple says the target must succeed on a strength-based dexterity or strength or dex-based throw for which has a grab condition. DC is saving throw, and any attempt to escape. DC for the saving throw is 8 plus your strength modifier and proficiency bonus.
Or I could just roll 2 9s.
Oh.
Yep. That's okay, because he rolled a 1.
Hey!
So you grab him by the scruff of the neck, and the caltrop that's still wedged in his foot just gets him in the wrong angle. He just collapses down on one knee, and you've got him scruffed at this point. All right, so that's action, bonus action.
Can I move with him?
You can
If I put
half
him
movement
backward.
to drag him.
Yeah, can I just drag him back into this room away from... So it'll be, 15 feet.
Yep. So you drag him back against this table here.
Yeah.
And the guard, who really hasn't had a chance to react yet, is just looking on, shocked and surprised and confused, and a bit upset about broadly what's going on. And Mr. Silo is entirely confused by the sudden speed with which the crippled old weird man moved. And Brother Aelon has no idea that any of this has happened, of course, because he can't see or hear shit. So at this point, Pheon, you stayed where you were, didn't you, with the Magister? And yeah, so it would be your initiative if you wanted to do anything.
I am going to move towards all the commotion, muttering to myself, but I'm not going to. Can I make a action to perceive if there is anyone else in the room that's a potential threat?
You can spend your action to look around and make a perception check again.
Yeah, so
and
I'll
see
move 30 feet towards the commotion, and then I'll use an action to...
Yep, and roll with advantage because of Stephen Hawking.
Okay, dirty 20.
Okay. So as you start to walk across the space with a sense of purpose, and you can see what has been a quiet scuffle at this point has still started to... There's the back rows of people have started to notice what's going on and look around and mutter and point to themselves. You notice that Naira, one of the women from the Amnian delegation,
Yes.
unlike everyone else who's craning their head to see what's happened, she's studiously got her eyes locked on the dais and is like unblinking almost watching the dais, which seems a bit
This is
unusual to you.
The not right one.
This is the not right
Mm.
one. Yeah.
So I perceived her doing that. Is there any way I can see?
But you moved
Roll
30
something
feet
to-
in the other direction.
Yeah. No, I'm happy with that. I'm just wondering if Ophium would realize if she was concentrating on a spell, or if she's in some sort of trance or something.
You've got reasonably
just
good
perceived.
magical. You've got magic. You've got pretty good magical knowledge, and to your eyes, there's no obvious verbal or somatic component that you can see. She's not obviously casting anything.
And I will use a free action to touch the communication bracelet and say, Johnny, tier 6. Zira is not reacting to anything. She seems to be in some sort of trance.
Okay,
And that'll end my turn.
and that brings us to Johnny.
Burn it all.
Can I move to
Immolate
the other side?
entire
Yeah.
nobility.
Who's
other
standing
side
by
of
the
the room.
podium?
Yep.
Is there anyone
Yeah,
still on the
Hawking
podium?
moves. Yep. So on the podium, so Vaughn Redwine, so Chancellor Redwine is the human diplomat. He's still speaking. Kalen Murr is the brightly armored hero. He's still on the stage, and there are two members of the honor guard in armor at that far end. And then there's sort of 10 feet before the first row of chairs. There's no one closer than that.
Okay, so Johnny has to figure out, is there a bomb on the stage, or is she doing some kind of magic towards the stage?
If you want to spend your action to try and interpret what's going on, and you could make an intelligence check, but it would call it your action to spend your action thinking.
Yeah, I'd like to spend my action thinking. Could I
Okay.
make an investigation, or...
Who are you, and what have you done with Johnny Five?
Well, this is one of those situations where I'm not supposed to set everything on fire.
That's fair. Okay,
You don't want to commit war crimes in front of the Minister for Justice.
it is frowned upon. Yes.
That hasn't stopped Johnny 5 before.
Okay, investigation check.
Yeah. So 17. So you have considered the details. So you've seen this Nazira woman, and you've interacted, or at least been present in some of her interactions, you've not seen the Pale Lark guard previously, but you understand that someone was killed to put him in a guard's uniform to achieve something. Doesn't seem likely that guards with melee weapons would be the choice to attack, particularly given the heightened level of security going on here, and he was positioned very far away from the dais. So you're not sure what role Pale Lark was to play in the attack if he was not the direct attacker. You suspect that perhaps there is something that he needed the guards access to do to sabotage or install. And you're not sure that Naira is involved. You see nothing to connect the two. It would be very unusual that somebody who came in with the Amnian delegation, there doesn't seem to be any logical crossover between them, so you can't really account for what she would be doing or why. But you conclude that her actions are also highly suspicious.
Am I able to get up from my seat and sit next to her?
Yeah, absolutely you can. So the iron-masked ambassador of Thay stands up mid-speech, and those people who weren't already motioning to the commotion in the back of the room, there's a few sort of muttered half gasps and things as people debate perhaps the political ramifications of such an action on behalf of the Wizardom of Thay. But you then sit yourself down in the seat next to Naira. And so you can see she's a half elf. She's a very dark skin, dark complexion. She's got heterochromia. She's got one eye that's this sort of piercing blue color, and one eye that's a very dull, sort of almost grey color. And you see the same thing that Pheon did, which is that she's sitting in almost rapt attention, staring at the dais, ignoring what is a growing commotion behind you. And that will be
my turn.
That'll be you, and that brings us back to the top of the order. At this point, the guards here move to this doorway and make movements to start sealing that doorway, and an additional number of guards enter the space who weren't present previously, having been summoned presumably by the commotion. And the speech is continuing, but there's now very clearly a sort of a stuttering sense of interruption to what's going on. And that brings us to Harold.
I think you're muted, Dave.
Yep. Okay, so Harold would then try to talk to the Pale Lark while he's restrained and go to him, look, we're not the Watch, we're just trying to, we're not the Watch. I'm just we're here to make sure that nothing traces back to you. Who's the target? We need to know who to clean up after. And he tries to whisper it into Pale Lark's ear.
Roll a deception check with disadvantage on account of the hostile sort of interaction.
Fair enough. Even then, that's a 13.
He looks at you dismissively, says, "Have nothing to say to you. Release me immediately."
Harold goes, well, swing and a miss. Then uses his bonus action to search through this guy's pockets to see what he has on him.
Okay, roll an investigation check.
Yep. Not bad. That is 15 minus 1, 14.
Okay, so you rifle through the armor and the various sort of pockets and so forth. He doesn't really resist you, and you're efficient and tiny but supple hands. You find a small leather purse which contains 10 platinum, which strikes you as unusual for a guard who probably doesn't make that in a year. You find some scraps of parchment. You find a vial which is empty. You find a scroll case which is empty. And that's all you find without stripping him out of his armor or doing anything more invasive.
Okay. Harold, if you allow us as a free action, touches the sigil and goes, there's an empty scroll case and an empty vial. There might be poison involved. And that would end his turn.
And that brings us to Pale Lark. So he's currently grappled, and he's just grappled, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not restrained. Okay. So he's going to try and break the grapple as his action. So can you roll an athletics for me?
Actually, I think with grappled, it requires...
is this the new rules or the...
Yes, it is the new rules.
Yeah.
So
escaping
a grapple creature can use its action to make an athletics or dexterity or an athletics or acrobatics check against the grapple's escape DC, ending condition on its success. So that you have to do a DC saving throw. It's 8 plus Malix's strength modifier and proficiency bonus.
I hate the new rules. Just for the ease of mathematics, we'll use because your contested strength still wins. So he remains grappled. So he's gonna struggle almost in vain, because he's a pretty scrawny sort of dude. He's gonna struggle in vain for, a turn is 6 seconds. So he's gonna struggle in vain for about 3.5 or 4 seconds. And then he's gonna try and leap on the spot, and he's gonna lash out with a kick, and he hits you, Alexis, and does 4 points of bludgeoning damage. And words. Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Is it poison?
It is not poison.
Is it stun?
It is. It's a stunning strike.
Ooh. It's like my fourth one on this whole fucking game.
Okay. So as the hit connects, it takes all of the breath from your chest, and you let go of him because you have the incapacitated condition for a turn. And he then uses his disengage, because you kindly pulled him away from the Caltrops, to run for the door. And he makes it to there. And then that brings us to Malixus, who you spend the turn gasping and vomiting a little bit. And then Ophion.
Pheon,
You could shut the door and shield the commotion from the audience.
That is true. That is true. Pheon, is Ophion able to shut the doors with Mage Hand?
So the guards are already in the process of trying to shut the doors. They're these big timber things, and there's bars involved, and they were tied back out of the way. You wouldn't be able to do anything to speed that process up. They're already doing it as effectively as you could.
Okay. Ophion is very reluctant to leave the main area. So he is going to... Does a Magister... Does a Magistrate have one of the pins to communicate?
She does not.
I'll message her using my spell message about we've got an escaped monk
25
outside.
words.
Yeah, escaped monk outside. Zira is showing signs of concentrating, and I put concentrating in inverted brackets in whatever mind speak equivalent is.
Yep. It comes through in italics, yep.
And I think that'll be the 25 minutes. I don't
Okay.
want to spend the cost of a second message.
Oh, you can reply to this message.
You can respond to this.
And you hear her, like, her grandmotherly tones in your head. She says, I think it's about time we put a stop to this. And that's all she says before your turn comes to an end, bringing us to Johnny.
So Johnny's been witnessed sitting down next to the Naira. He's gonna lean towards her and gently elbow her and whisper, Are you certain that Waterdeep is the place where you'll find the best allies? He'll say that. What he's really doing is trying to see if she's conscious, if she's concentrating on something, if she's really actually there or in an illusory form that is held static. So I don't actually care what her response to what I'm saying is. I just want to ensure she's a physical object and that she is capable of responding.
Okay.
So it's more of either medical or arcana.
Yeah, well, I don't even think you have to roll because you're interacting with an object or a person. Like I don't think that there's a skill check here. I think you reach out and you touch her, and she certainly feels corporeal, in so much as anything feels corporeal to you. What is corporeal? But you feel that she feels like other flesh people. And she feels warm, and she appears to have a respiration rate that is compatible with life. And her skin temperature feels warm and appropriate. And she makes no reaction to you.
Okay. Silly question. Surely people breathe when they're still stunned or the subject of the hold person spell, right?
They do, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so incapacitated, you can breathe, but you can make like gasping noises. You can't speak effectively, but she's not doing that. She appears to be completely normal and just ignoring you.
Okay, that's fine. Bonnie's a bit stumped by this puzzle, and the solution is not to set things on fire. So
it could be like.
Okay, and you guards who came in, are they obviously doing suspicious things?
Nothing that catches your attention. They all appear to have been alerted by commotion. They've all come with a degree of haste, and they're trying to assess the situation, and they're acting appropriately for that. No one's approaching the stage currently. All the interest seems to be in that back corner of the room.
Okay. I think Johnny's just going to remain seated next to her. If she's a troublemaker, he'll be next to her to do something about it. There's no need to set things on fire yet. Everyone else has everything handled, so that'll be my turn.
Okay. Brings us back to Harold at the top of the order.
Okay. I think... So, what did this guy exactly say to Harold? He said release...
He said release me immediately, and he didn't really give you much beyond that.
Okay, but I found an empty vial and a spell scroll.
Yep.
It's not something that would sound... I don't know. Like it doesn't. It seems sus. And he's wearing the skin of. He's wearing this of a dead body. I think Harold.
The skin of the dead body.
Yeah.
And you didn't check whether his skin was attached, but it seems like his skin. Yes.
I think Harold would move over himself 30 feet over, and then because an oldie is a goodie, he's going to try. Throwing the Caltrops again. That said, though, I noticed the Caltrop utilize is to use it within 5 feet of you. It doesn't say anything about throwing it.
I'd consider it a thrown weapon, which I think you have proficiency with.
Can you sneak attack?
He's a moving target, so you could, if you roll it as an attack.
Yeah.
And we'll.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Just. All right.
Because he's a moving target. He was not so hard to get to before.
Okay. So if I just roll it as a general attack, is that just my proficiency?
Dex and proficiency.
Okay, which would be +5. Okay, give me a second. So that is 16 + 5, 21 to hit.
Yeah. So you throw the Caltrops again, and you surround him essentially with the Caltrops, and you have to wait and see whether he does something, whether that does something to him.
I think that will. I think that's probably going to do it, and then I guess Harold will then move into. Actually, this might be good. I'm just checking something. 1 second. Just wondering, the blinded condition, how does that exactly work? It says they automatically fail any ability check that requires sight.
Yeah, and I think they can attack with disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Harold is going to use his action to throw one of his smoke grenades hidden as perfume bottle into where Pale Lark is, to make him blinded, and thus I'm not sure if that would affect his ability to succeed on a dex saving throw.
I think if you couldn't see the Caltrops, then you're very likely to cause yourself substantial pain. Yep, that seems reasonable.
Yeah. So he's going to use his action to throw the smoke grenades, or in this case, this is like smoke powder bomb. I can throw up to 60 feet. It's 20-foot radius.
Okay. Yeah. So you create a cloud of smoke that is affecting the room there. You're centering it on this guy.
Yeah.
You would also blind yourself, but
I would, except that I still would, but Harold has blind sight up to 10 feet because Harold took the skulker feat when he gained a level.
Very good. Okay, carry on.
All right. And then that's Harold's turn.
Okay. And that brings us to Lark, who auto-fails his dexterity save and takes a point of damage and has 0 movement. And you can hear him just cursing you. There's like bits of abyssal, bits of infernal. Like he's got quite a broad range of profanity that he's throwing at you. And he's not really holding back. So he takes his action to just curse and swear at you and be largely displeased. And that brings us to Malixus, who you are unstunned. Had this brief sort of 6-second period where you're like, the fuck just happened? And then the dude's gone.
The dude's gone. There's a smoke cloud. So Malixus has obviously been here over the last couple of weeks practicing, and I'm going to use my movement to walk over to not letting me grab myself, hold on, to walk over to the piano, and I pull out one of the tridents that I've stashed in the various musical instruments around this building. Now, I can't see into that, can I?
No.
So that used up 25 of my movement. Could I then take just hoping I can use getting the trident out as a free action just to grab it, and then use a dash action as a bonus action?
No, you got to be rogue.
I'm imagining myself as the level above what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do extract a trident from the harp, and you catch a brief glance from the guards in the room, who are already really confused about what is going on, about how a weapon was missed on so many security sweeps. But it was made to look like part of the harp, and people.
This one was in the piano.
About, okay. Yeah, it was the bit that was holding up the the piano. Yeah. People are quite hesitant to touch musicians' instruments. Yeah, so you've got the trident. What do you want to do for your action?
I was gonna dash for my action.
So you can dash for your action. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I've used 5, and then I have the what is it? The dash feat.
The dash feat.
Charger feat.
Charger.
Yeah, which gives me an improved dash, so it increases my movement speed by 10. So that gives me another 40 feet of movement, which I'm going to use to try and... I'm going to skirt the edges of this, which puts me basically right next to the bar. Just there.
Okay. Yep.
I was going to stay there.
Okay. As you get to the bar, you see there's a number of the staff and servants who are now like cowering behind the bar. They've stopped what they're doing and they've got their heads down. And that brings us to Pheon.
Yeah, I wish things had become clearer, but it's just become all foggy.
Smoky even. Yep.
Smoky.
Yeah, the council is not going to have like that.
No. Pheon doesn't see anything to attack. He says that Johnny is already with Naira. He's confused at what exactly is going on, which seems to be a constant state for Pheon. He's going to make another perception check, just to see if anything is being missed. And Naira is looking at the stage, or she's looking at someone in particular on the stage?
She's just looking at the dais, looking straight at the dais in the center of the stage.
Ian is going to use bonus action to command Stephen Hawkwing to try and scare away Redwine and Kellen from the dais and then land on top of the dais.
Okay. And his form, it's not a hawk, it's a seagull?
Yeah, Seagull, yeah.
Okay, so a seagull swoops in through the broad sort of open river, the terrace end of the building, and aggressively, wings sprayed, crowing at its loudest. It kind of dive bombs the Chancellor of Diplomacy and the heavily armored combat veteran.
That's right. One of them's going to get bird poo on them.
How many hit points does the seagull have?
Familiars have 1 hit point.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he dives, and it does. This completely interrupts the trailing end of Redwine's speech. And at this point, so that was your action to command. So your bonus action to command.
Bonus action to command, and I have no idea what to do with my action.
You were perceiving, I think. You were looking for...
Yeah, I was looking like, what is this dice thing about? Is there anything I can do to... I'll move closer to
Is there a goblet
dice.
or something? A goblet of wine, explosives.
Yeah, well, I just investigate to see if there's anything unusual about
There's
the
nothing
dice.
that appears to have... You've inspected the dais several times with the Magister today, and there's nothing that seems to have changed in that space.
Both Pheon as character and myself as a player is confused.
Shrug.
Shrug.
Action shrug.
Action shrug, that's right.
Alright. Johnny 5.
I'll move closer to the front of the room.
Towards the front of the room.
30 feet towards the front of the room.
I suspect had a used scroll, so I'm assuming a spell has been cast. Scrolls are only useful for spellcasters. Is there anyone we know aside from us who might be a spellcaster? Perhaps just the Magister Dawn script?
She'd be the obvious one, I guess, or she'd be the most accomplished one, but you don't know who else really has magical talents in the room. You did roll an enormous history check before.
Made the assumption that people not wearing armor are potential wizards.
That's a fair assumption, although there's a number of sort of diplomats, and it's supposed to be a diplomatic
fancy dress thing. Yeah.
Fancy dress thing. But certainly there are a number of people who there are features about them that you've analysed to consider that they may possibly have some arcane talent, but nobody jumps out as both being suspicious and having arcane talent currently.
And the pages, they also wear uniforms, because we didn't identify what the role of the person of the body was. It could have been a page, or the scullery maid, or something else. Do the pages look suspect?
No, so you guys have looked and been paying considerable attention to all of the uniformed staff, and none of them are really doing anything untoward at this point.
Are the Amnian delegation in the uniforms?
No.
Surely they'd recognize people with such a small group. Yeah. Okay. I'm also stumped, and the time hasn't come yet to set everything on fire. And I'm just thinking, what are the worst possible things people could do? If they had a scroll of gate, things like the secret word spell that causes explosions isn't going to do enough damage to hurt most of the VIPs here. Dispel magic won't help. Maybe a circle of death, but that won't hurt the most important people. Yeah, Johnny 5 is stumped. I'm just going to ask, anyone have any ideas what their game plan might be?
Maybe poison in a wine goblet, maybe poison in a drink or flask, or for cheers, the purpose of giving a cheers.
While you guys are having this discussion, and in the interest of kind of things that you've broadly observed, Melixis, as you sidle up to the bar, there are trays and trays of goblets prepared for a toast, which hasn't happened yet and seems to have been put on hold on account of the commotion that is going on in the bar area. There's no one's really got goblets or food in the ceremony space currently, but you notice that the goblets have been prepared for that, and they're lined up along the bar currently next to where you're standing. And that brings us to the top of the order. Harold, you're in complete darkness. Not complete darkness, you're in heavy smoke.
Harold's going to use about 10 feet of movement to stand next to Pale Lark, and now he can see him because of his blind sight. And he's gonna go to him. I have enough of this shit to keep you here forever. If you don't, you can make this stop. If you tell me who's the target and how you plan on hurting them, then I will. Otherwise, I'll make you stuck here forever.
He responds to you in a defiant, annoyed sort of voice. I don't know the names. We're not meant to know the names. They told me I wouldn't live to see it anyway.
Okay, then you'll live in if you won't, then you'll live in pain for as long as you will, until the end of time with Lego stuck in your feet. What were you going to do?
It is done.
Okay. Was it the wine? I'm just trying to see if there's any noticeable change in his body, like he freezes up or something.
Roll an insight check.
Fuck, it's not gonna be good. It's gonna be a 5.
You don't see any obvious reaction.
Okay. I think that's enough to take my action for the turn. And so that's basically my movement. What can I do for bonus? I think I'm just going to do the classical thing for bonus action and just hide where I am. I don't think there's anything else I can do. Yep. Hide. Of course, I get an 18 on that roll. 18 plus 7 is a 25 in a smoke thing. I think technically I get advantage, but do I? No, doesn't matter. It's 25. I take that back. 24.
Okay. The creepy, disembodied, small person voice disappears back into the smoke.
Oh, he just, of course, Howard tells everyone, whatever it is, it's done. Is what?
What's your AC, Harold?
15.
Okay. So with your blind sight, you see him on the spot furiously lash out in the direction that he thinks that you went, and the blows just miss everything.
Can he see me if I'm hidden anyway?
He would have disadvantage, but he was guessing on the direction that you'd traveled, and he is going to jump because he can't do fucking shit else.
Okay, I hate to be this guy. Can you jump if you have a 0 movement speed? I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate.
So I think he can take his dex saving throw again.
Okay.
Because he's going straight up, it doesn't matter if he can see or not. He's just trying to get off of the Caltrops.
Fair enough.
I'll roll the death save, which is a nat 20.
Okay.
He jumps and he disappears out of your 10 feet of blind sight. Just goes straight up, and you can't see him or where he moves. That ends his turn.
He can move at
And-
half speed without having to make a saving throw.
Oh, wait, that's the thing?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well-
specifically what Caltrops said.
Okay, there you go. You stitched me up, Dave. That's all right.
No, it
I
doesn't,
like-
it doesn't say.
I like
it doesn't
the-
say that
I like
actually.
Morpheus jump better anyway.
No, I'm looking at
So-
Caltrops now. It doesn't say that you can move. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So
Okay.
he jumps and disappears from your view. At this point, as he disappears, and Malixus, you're trying to see what's happening through this cloud of smoke, and Harold, you're in the cloud of smoke, and Ophi, you're starting to make your way towards the front of the room. The Magister.
Is it my turn?
No, she has jumped into the initiative order, so she's going to slam her staff into the ground, and there is a thunderous noise as her voice echoes through the room, and all she says is threat, and that's the action that she takes, and then it's your turn.
So I just go, I'm standing there looking at these bar staff. I'm assuming they're still cowering.
Yes.
And I just say, sorry. And I sweep with my trident all of those drinks off the bar onto the floor.
Okay. You
Trying
can
to
do it.
destroy the toast.
You can do it. That's done. There's not even a roll involved in that. You just there's like a swing of a tail and it's
And a
done.
clattering of goblets.
Okay. A number of goblets go flying. There's various
And then just for
forms
good
of
measure,
wine spilled everywhere.
I'm going to walk down here and I'm going to shove these 2 barrels off the shelf as well onto the floor. Just trying to get rid of any sort of drinking
Yep.
available.
So we've gone Prohibition sort of era on the ceremony. Okay, all right. So you successfully just destroy the 2 casks of wine and all of the goblets. It's smashed. That's you take your action to
Yeah.
do that. And the very confused house staff now look even more confused. All right, and that brings us to Johnny.
Has Johnny observed any changes in the room? People's behaviors, guard activities?
No, nothing seems to have changed.
And the lady next to me, is she still unmoving?
She hasn't moved. She continues to breathe. She hasn't interacted. She hasn't moved her head an inch. She hasn't even blinked.
This is one of those resus situations where you're in a bit of a conundrum. Do you start chest compressions, or is that sexual assault?
Defibrillation is the answer to all problems, really, but you're a fire guy, not an electricity guy.
Good point. Calcination is also a solution. I think because this is a very finely honed diplomatic situation, I'm just going to stay in here as close protection until something happens.
Okay.
Or
So
until
you're
I
gonna
get
hold.
sighted.
You can hold your action, and if someone takes a hostile action, you can use it. All right.
Yep.
Bringing us back to the top of the order, Harold. And before your turn comes, Harold, the guards that had already raced into the space. There's a sort of a shimmering, almost blue aura that kind of imbues the armor of all of the guards that you can see in the room, and you can't really see them, but because you're in the smoke cloud. But later on in the debrief, everyone will tell you that this is what happened, and it looked really cool. Ophi, you look around, you notice that the Magister is now concentrating, and the runes on her staff are glowing, and the armor of all of the honor guard who've arrived seems to be glowing, and a number of additional guards enter the space. And at this point, the guards have moved to remove the Chancellor and Kellen off of the stage. And they're moving now towards the main exit at the back of the room, as are the Chancellor Thalabar and his people, Blackthorn and his people, Veld, and his people.
And the Amnian delegation.
The Amnian delegation is staying still. They're not moving anywhere. And
Are they paralyzed?
no, they're all like looking around and
Oh, okay.
being like, what the fuck's going on? But foreign culture, and maybe this is just some weird like
It's not foreign
Would be-
culture. No one knows what the fuck's going on.
yeah, like some kind of like weird water deep like fire drill or something.
Old man
Sounds
wetting
good.
himself.
Yes, there was an old guy who wet himself, and then suddenly there was a fight, and shit's
Seagulls
kind of
attacking.
got out of hand. There's wildlife in here, and this is all just very uncouth and uncivilized. And so that's the lair action, I guess we call it. And now it's Harold's turn.
Okay, so this guy just jumps, and it's been 6 seconds and he hasn't come back down.
Not that you can see.
Okay.
Things are
Yeah.
becoming clearer, obviously.
Yeah. So I think Harold. Okay, so Harold is going to try to move out of this space now. He's still, I suppose, I guess he's still hidden. So trying to figure out ruler space. He will probably move. The guy's disappeared. He's going to try to find him, and he can't make the smoke go away because it's a grenade. Not because it's a smoke bomb, not spell. So he's going to move 30 feet here. Use his movement, and he's going to try to see if he could lay eyes on that guard, on Pale and Lark.
Pale Lark. You can't see him. You see no trace of him.
Is he up? I look directly up. Is there like beams that is hanging from the top?
So it's a high vaulted ceiling. It's probably
Okay.
15, 20 feet to the ceiling, and there are sort of chandeliers and beams and rafters and like ventilation type hatches and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff above you.
Okay. Could Harold do an investigation check to understand, piece together what could have happened? And he's wondering, especially from his background, from being a thief.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. His intelligence is -1, but this is all I got. And that's a 2 on a die. That becomes a 1.
Ooh, fuck knows.
Yeah.
You heard about the last Black Accord guy who literally disappeared on the end of the hangman's noose. This guy's just gone.
Okay. Okay, I think that's action, that's movement, and I don't think Harold's going to use his bonus action. So he's going to, or maybe we use bonus action, move 30 feet to about here-ish to get closer to the main hall again. And he just messaged in Sigil, the monk has disappeared. And that's turn.
Okay. The monk's turn. None of you can see him. So we'll keep going down the list. Malixus, you are like standing in a puddle of expensive wine and shattered casks. And Harold emerged from the cloud of smoke looking kind of lost and bewildered.
Harold, what happened?
He just disappeared. He jumped up and he disappeared. I don't know where he could have gone.
I assume this is fairly well lit, isn't it? I'm just going to make my way back as well, but I'm going to action dash, and I
Yep.
can actually move 70 feet, which gets me to sitting at the harp. So I'm just going to go sit at the harp.
Wasn't me. I've been playing the harp the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
For the Trident.
I just lay it on the floor behind me. It is still there, and then I just strum the harp again.
Okay. And
Oh my god. Ophion isn't going to do anything spectacular. Ophion's going to join the VIPs and exiting the room and trying to blend in. I wouldn't have. I don't know if I'd put the tiki glass down or still have it. I would.
Oh, no, you wouldn't have brought that.
I wouldn't have brought it
That
around.
would have been fair. That would have been fairly.
I would like to do something to cause pain to Naira.
Okay.
Nazira, but I don't want to make it obvious that I'm attacking her. So I might wait until if I'm wandering past, and then I'll try and make a sleight of hand and stab her with something
Okay.
when I get closer.
All right. And Johnny,
Johnny is going to have a look around at the people doing magic-looking things and do an Arcana check to try and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I want to confirm that the Magister is not taking hostile action and is actually helping.
Yeah, with your advanced knowledge and the fact that you'd processed the detailed security protocols in advance, you're aware that essentially the Magister had done a form of an alarm type spell, initially summoning the guards, and then what she's doing now seems to be some kind of enchantment based magic that is providing additional protection to the guards in the room. So she seems to be acting appropriately.
Okay. So I'll just message the others. Magister is helping secure the room, hunt down the suspect. Throughout the remaining areas, I'll remain in here.
Okay. Back at the top of the order, before Harold takes his action, the fleeing dignitaries, escorted by the guards, is Offsider, Vaughnfeld, and his aide. There was one more, but I can't for the last one. We'll see where that person is. So Kalen has got his weapon drawn now, and he's looking around anxiously, either looking for a fight or hoping to avoid one. And at this point, some of the nobles have started to try and usher the consul out of the room as well, seeing or sensing that there's a degree of danger. So they're starting to make their way into the hallway. And as you're crossing underneath the center chandelier, and Chancellor Vaughnfeld comes towards you, there's a bright flash of light, and Pheon, you need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Sure. +2 and 18 on the die, so 20.
Nice.
So you take half damage. Let's just the dice roller. 5d8 for 11. What a joke. And you take 5 points of fire damage.
5 points of fire damage, okay.
Yeah, and you're not prone to... You succeeded the save. And it is now, Harold, your turn, having just heard what is essentially a large explosion from the front of the room.
Is this the chandelier falling down, or it was...
The chandelier is literally just exploded.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Harold hears this all happen. Hears an explosion. He, of course, is going to run into the room. First running in, spending 30 feet, which gets him just to the door. When he gets to the door, what does he see?
From the doorway, what you can see, there's a cloud of smoke in the middle of the room. And there are a number of people down and on the ground. Opheon's still standing in the middle of this. But there's like a 20-foot area in the middle of the room where a number of people have been knocked down. There's people who are obviously wounded.
Yep. And do I see anyone acting suspiciously toward, like, in terms of acting hostilely in this area, or are they all in this room, or are they all trying to escape and run away?
Roll a perception check.
Okay, not bad. 17.
Her is gone.
Oh.
You know that Johnny was sitting next to her, and she has disappeared.
Johnny, where did Nazira go?
What's Johnny noticed about her? She just disappeared? Or
She suddenly became. There was a loud explosion, and there was a significant sort of visual and auditory stimulus. And in the brief milliseconds that you were distracted by that, she was gone.
Okay. Johnny's going to actually reach over and check the seat to make sure she's not just invisible.
You can do that on your turn.
Okay.
My turn.
Harold notices that she's gone, and that there's just one person missing, but no one actually is doing anything. I think Harold's going to spend 30 feet of movement to just move close to the center of the action.
Right.
Yep. So Harold's just going to move here, and then he's going to hold an action to attack anyone with his short bow if he sees anyone acting hostilely.
Okay.
Yep. And that's turn.
Okay. It's Pale Lark's turn. No one can see him. But we keep going on down the list. Malixus, you're just playing a gentle sort of E minor chord.
Something slightly up tempo, like there's a little bit of intrigue happening.
Yep.
Is the waltz yet?
No, but after hearing that crash, I probably would have actually picked up my trident and moved into the space.
All right, come on down.
And that would be get me there. I would dash in, get one, and then I get to about here. But I'm not really able
Harold
to do
also
anything
touches his
with that.
sigil and just realizes it and says, "There are 4 other chandeliers."
Chandelier.
And he just has a realization that there are 4 chandeliers. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. And that's so you've dashed in, and you can see largely what we described. There's a half a dozen people down and in various states of injury.
All these black-ringed people.
Yeah, they're all down with some kind of obvious injury. It's not, you don't know if they're, without checking them, who's dead or alive. Turns out that 11 damage is enough to kill commoners. You've arrived. All right, and Ophion.
Right. Ophion is...
at the scene of the crime.
believes he set off whatever caused the explosion, unfortunately. He would have noticed the empty seat as well. What can he do? Ophion's going to move over to where the seat was. Does he have enough speed to reach the seat?
Yes, you do. Roll a D something, D20.
D20 sounds like D&D.
Yeah, D20 seems appropriate.
12.
Everything's really just a D4 that's multiplied. Okay. You make it here and you hit something.
Does it feel like a person?
It does feel a bit like a person, yes.
Does feel a bit like a person. Alrighty. Sorry, I got multiple screens going on here. And the people in the black circles, do you say they're dead or they're...
They're down. Without examining them, you don't know.
I'm going to cast web in the space, including myself.
Okay.
I conjure a mass of sticky webbing at a point within range, a 20-foot cube for the duration.
It's a spell that you learnt in your teenage years.
Yeah, like, it's like... coming from the north end, it's like a flurry of snow surrounds me. And then when it kind of disperses, there's, instead of, it looks like spider webs, but there's a large collection of interlacing ice shards, a snowflake. But it's in effect the web spell. So anyone needs to make a dex saving throw if they're at 20-foot square.
Okay. Alright, so you cast this and it immobilizes, or it does a
Dex
bunch of
save,
stuff
yeah.
in that 20-foot square. Okay. Alright.
And it's up to you whether or not it's going to... You can see a form, an invisible form trapped in the webbing. It's up to you.
Yeah, I guess
That's more
you
than
would-
the spell allows, but...
Yeah,
Go on,
airy
Sam.
fire sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you've webbed this area, which kind of takes in a number of the victims. But so you do get the impression that there's an outline of a person. There's in fact several outlines of several people. but there's one that kind of corresponds with where you think that the invisible person should be.
Okay. And I will relay that information to everyone. I'll say there's an invisible person in front of me, and I'll indicate the general idea and indicate the general outline of the person. And that's my turn.
Right.
Mark off as well. So.
Johnny, flamethrower time.
Actually,
Webs
no,
are flammable.
there's a lot of VIPs in there. If we didn't have a web there, I'd walk in, try to find the VIPs, heal them, and then get them out. But I can't go in because there's a web. And if I use fire, I'll burn all of the casualties.
Quite the conundrum.
These are the dilemmas that we face in the D&D.
Is there anything I could use as a fan to try and get the smoke out?
So the smoke already clearing to an extent. It was very brief, came with the bright sort of magical flash, the chandelier kind of exploding, but it seems to have largely dissipated. So visibility is pretty good, except for the area that's full of Pheon's secretions.
Okay. And does it look like Lord Arik got out? Or hard to know?
You can't really see from your vantage point. Oh, no, but you probably can. You can see across the room, he does seem to be standing.
Okay, good. So I don't have to worry about getting him out. The priority at the moment is save the VIPs. Amnians can look after themselves, but we've got to get our counselors out. Do his secretions extend as far as on top of the chairs?
They cover the row of chairs that you're sitting in, the row of chairs in front of you.
Yeah. You had to goop all over all the furniture as well. Nobody could
I'm so sorry for finding the invisible creature. Sorry.
Are there any casualties within arm's reach that I can get to without going into the goop?
No, not really.
No one I know or care about either?
No.
I'm going to delay my action further.
Okay. So you're going to hold your action, and if something, you let me know if something triggers your desire to do something before the next turn. And we come to... Yeah. We come to the 20 initiative count, and at this point, several more guards have now burst through the door at the back of the room to try and get a handle on the escaping chancellors. And the guards up here are now pulling these guys back away, and so they're dragging the gnome body of Chancellor Blackthorn and his guard and Redwine, and they're all kind of they're pulling them back up away from the explosion towards the windows. And everyone else there's just generalized chaos now at this point. People are now starting to flee in every direction. And so it's getting pretty busy, and I am conscious that it is 11:57. So in the spirit of trying to resolve this, the monk is gone. You have no idea where the monk is, and we've largely given up in that part of the room, hoping that the guards can keep him contained. We've got Naira, who is outlined in a thick web and is currently immobilized in that thick web next to Pheon and Vornfeld. So we might bring the session to a close at what feels like an unsatisfying end. But I'm just going to quickly read the web spell.
Cliffhanger.
A cliffhanger.
I should have cast Thunderwave. Web spell is dex saving throw or be restrained, and then a strength athletics check as an action to break it.
Okay. And now here's the complexity of 5e having 7 different words, which all mean very similar things. So restrained creature's speed becomes 0.
Yes.
The creature's attack rolls have disadvantage, but the creature can attack. Okay. We're going to come out of the initiative order, and I'm going to give you the wrap up so that we can all go back to our lives. Over the next few minutes, the guards secure the room, and the Chancellor Thalavar and Chancellor Redwine are escorted out under a phalanx of armed guards and rushed away. Brother Aelor, the blind cleric, is seen rushing into the room to kneel beside the limp body of the gnome Chancellor Blackthorn, and he is able to bring him back to consciousness. Interestingly, only blind when he chooses to be. He did have to roll a dexterity saving throw for the puddle of urine that he ran through, which he passes, so that's fine. The web spell eventually dissipates, and so Johnny, Pheon have got Nazira kind of cornered, and a number of guards are now present and weapons trained in that space. And when the web spell dissipates, she is visible again, and she has deep incisions to both her carotid arteries and has exsanguinated on the floor. Of the survivors, there are a number of people who are badly injured, and they're being tended to by other clerics who are being rushed in, and the whereabouts of the monk known as the Pale Guy is completely unknown, but a guard near the kitchen door was found killed a few minutes after the situation had settled in the main chamber. Ultimately, of the 4 chancellors who were present, you were successful in saving all 4 lives. So all of the chancellors live, and you have one of 2 assailants neutralized. So we'll call it there. Thanks, gang.
No, thank you.
And we'll bring it back next time. I'm really glad, Alan, that I shortened the session to 2 hours, because
Yeah.
if I had to give you the backstory of all of those 50 people, I tell you what, there was layers of stuff cut out of this.
Glad you could cram 2 hours into 4 hours.
Yeah, so they call that ADHD. Is time blindness. All right. I will use something less ambitious for our next mission than a multi-layered assassination plot at a 100-person political event. All right, and I'll post some stuff in the group, wrapping up and also explaining, because a series of things happened.
What exploded?
Due to your actions that prevented a lot of things happening and derailed a lot of the plan, but it wasn't clear to you at the time that you were derailing the plan. So it was like success by
incompetence.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up for you another time. But thanks, gang, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Also, for full transparency, with Caltrops, turns out I think that only lasts for 1 turn. It doesn't happen every turn.
That's okay. I will
self-extracting.
I will appropriately palliate for this in a future session.
To be fair, I used
your
2
cane is going to break or something like that.
We'll be assailed by children pelting caltrops at us every session.
It's just this one kid. He follows us around. All right. Thanks, gang.
Thanks, gang. All right, catch you later.
We woke where the dust still burns, steel bones under broken